Hi, this is Jenny Langley, author of the new Maudsley Training Manual. In this video, we're looking at exercise 5.2.1, which has some examples of how ALPS can be used in practice, and also that pointing out that ALPS is a technique that can be used wherever the sufferer is in the cycle of change. So if you look at this chart, so when they're in pre-contemplation, you can still notice their emotions. So you can attend to the signs: you look tense and wound up, you seem sad, angry, etc. Validate. It must be frustrating for you when everyone is saying you must change and you feel that you've got no reason to change. In contemplation, it might be you seem to be in two minds, you seem anxious or confused, and then it must be confusing for you when one part of you doesn't want to let go of your eating disorder and the other part can see that there might be other different options. In terms of action and maintenance, you might be attending to the frustration and the exhaustion of trying to make changes and it's not always going right. You seem angry that this is happening and it's so challenging. I understand this is a difficult time because you're having to make so many changes and they don't always work out as you plan. And then maybe when they're coming out the other side, it might be more positive attending and labelling. So you're starting to look more relaxed. You seem proud of your achievements. You seem much happier these days. You should be so proud of yourself. You've made so much progress. So as you can see, you can use this at any of the stages of change, but also you can weave in lots of affirmations at every different stage as well. And also you can express empathy. I know this is tough. I realise that this is really difficult. I know that there's lots of roadblocks in the way. We're here, the unconditional love. We're here, whatever happens, we're here as your ally against the eating disorder. So let's have a look at a couple of examples. So in this example, Peter, age 14, has a sister, Sarah, age 16, who's had anorexia for 18 months. He feels that she's getting all the attention. So this is common complaint from siblings, isn't it? And he's really fed up with it. He's noticed that his parents seem to be giving him less freedom as well and responsibility than Sarah had at this age. And so his response is to start to behave badly at home. You know, he just is feeling this isn't fair. Why me? Sarah could do all these different things age 14. They're just worried because they're now having to look after Sarah, and it just is totally unfair. So everything's built up, and then it culminates in him telling his mum to F off. So imagine you're dad and you're thinking, okay, could I use ALVS here to try and diffuse the situation and to show Peter that I do care about him and I do really empathise with the fact that he's feeling so fed up with this whole situation. So attend might be, Peter, you swore at your mum. That's not like you. You know that goes against all our family boundaries. So it's always okay to say, these are family boundaries and you've kind of stepped over the mark at the moment. Label, you seem really wound up with a whole mix of emotions: angry, sad, anxious. Am I guessing right? And then of course Peter can correct Dad if he's not getting it right. Validate, we all feel like that sometimes, you know, because of the eating disorder and how we all have to tread on eggshells all the time. It makes us all feel very emotional. It's okay to feel like that. And then soothe, so this can be a shower of affirmations. Peter, you're such a wonderful brother to Sarah. You've been so supported throughout her illness. I've been thinking about how it's affected you, and I realise that perhaps we haven't been able to give you the same level of freedom that Sarah had at this age. Let's sit down at the weekend and think through how we could address that. The fact that we've become overprotective, maybe because we're looking after your sick sister, and maybe we can agree some new boundaries and look forward to happier times ahead. How does that sound? So there's been lots of affirmations, unconditional love, and a good plan to agree boundaries going forward. Let's have a look at another example. So Elizabeth comes from a big boned family. All her female relatives are large. She was mortified when she started her periods in year 6 and before any of her friends. She started to diet when she found a chart on a website that suggested she was 2 stone overweight for her age and height. And of course, the trend in schools now to weigh the students at the end of year or beginning of year 6 doesn't help with this, does they? If someone's slightly heavier and then a letter goes home saying your child is obese. So she's now 14, her eating's become chaotic, so she starves all day and then comes home and loses control and ends up binging and purging most nights. Her mum gets very upset with her. And so the result has been that quite often Elizabeth tries hard to hide her behaviour from her mum, partly because she doesn't want to upset her mum, partly because she's feeling ashamed, and partly because she's feeling out of control. So they're oscillating between these emotional outbursts. So mum is thinking, how could I use ALVS to come alongside Elizabeth in a more supportive and empathic way? So attend, mum might say, Elizabeth, I notice you've been avoiding me for the past few days. Label, guess, you seem sad and withdrawn. Elizabeth might respond with, I'm not sad, I'm angry. I'm keeping out of your way because I know I can say really horrible things to you when I'm angry, and I'm angry at myself because I'm just so out of control and because you must despair at my behaviour. So there's a bit of anger and guilt going on in there, isn't there? And then mum could validate, you're really angry about so many things. So you could repeat some of the things or just paraphrase or rephrase. You're angry because you're stuck in a vicious cycle and you don't know how to get out of it. I would be angry if I felt that I was in that sort of cycle. And then soothe. So again, the affirmations. Elizabeth, you're such a loving and caring daughter. I know you're determined to get yourself out of this cycle. You've come so far, and it's not surprising now that you're feeling so angry at feeling stuck and chaotic. Let's take the dog for a walk. The fresh air always helps. Later, if you want, we could have a think together about some experiments that might help you to regain some control. I love you unconditionally. I know you can do it. We're here to help. So the soothing can be very often, it can be that belief that together we can work together, we can plan, we can help get through this, and we believe that you've got the capacity to do that. So when Elizabeth is ready to make her own changes. Okay, so I hope these examples have been useful. ALPS can be used in so many different situations. I wish every parent would be taught it, just because it's really useful in teenage years anyway. So thank you for watching. All of the videos and worksheets can be found at www.newmaudslaycarers-kent.co.uk. Thank you.